Hi, everyone. Welcome to sunny side of San Diego. If you're watching us now, if you're watching us live, and feel free to ask us questions. If you're not watching us live and you're listening to us, maybe on podcast, Stitcher, all the different platforms, we'd love to hear your feedback. So either way, we want to hear what platform you listen to and what you think. Today, we want to talk about motivation, keeping yourself motivated. What's your, big why? What pushes you to wake up in the morning, do that workout, go to work, whatever it might be? You want to jump on this one, Michael?
I'm waking up into that quite literally. This morning I was feeling beat down, exhausted, and so being in this pandemic era, it would be very easy to just in bed, wait a while, say that I do it later, maybe push things off to tomorrow. But for me, a lot of it comes down to holding your word, to commitments. You and I had a commitment to do this. So even if this is my early days during the week, that's the day that I get things done. But I think that once you start building that routine, setting the routine with this on making Wednesdays my early day, it has actually helped to push me on the other days. It's helped me to acclimate to getting up earlier and to push me back into a place of having that routine that sets me up for success, which I fell away from for much of this time during the pandemic.
Yes, I'm fairly consistent about getting into the office around 7:30. And on days like this where it's like a set time where you have that appointment, it pushes you, keeps you accountable. I'm saying, all right, I got to be there a little before 7:15 and do this, make this work. Oh fuck, a sneeze. Wow, sorry guys. Now, I think, talking about the Road to Growth podcast and the one that I've done over there, that's kind of a big thing that I talk to business owners about, what their big why is, what pushes them, because it's all about struggle, it's all about overcoming adversity. I had someone on the other day that was talking about that there was just a party animal, didn't really do anything with their life, got married, but as soon as they had a child, they started realizing they had to do something more. That was they basically, she gave birth to her big why. What drove her? She didn't want her child to see her live paycheck to paycheck. She wanted to take it to the next level. So it's finding out what that big why is. And I think for every one of us, it's something different. I think there's a correlation probably that a lot of us, it has something to do with love. It could be love for your significant other. It could be love for basically a family member. It could be love for yourself. I think for a lot of us, I think it's love.
And what's interesting is that you can see certain people in your lives, and when they find that thing, when they find that spark, you see that change, and it's pretty dramatic. Which reminds me of something else. Have you seen the Disney Plus movie yet, Soul?
Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty great. I've watched it twice, and I'll probably watch it again. I think that each time that I watch it, I notice more in it. But just the idea of finding your spark, the thing that ignites you, that makes you ready to live, it's so important, and it's such a versatile, important message, I think, for people of all ages. If you find that you're not really feeling anything right now because of all the chaos and all that, getting back to finding that spark again, finding out what made you want to live, or maybe finding something new, a new spark that makes you want to live.
Yeah. Watching that movie, I watched with my girlfriend, and we both looked at each other and were like, this is not for kids. So we didn't really feel like I didn't think so. It's a pretty deep topic of talking about death. Right off the back that he's dying. Spoiler alert. But I think it's a pretty deep topic, maybe for older kids. To give them a kind of an insight of to know the ideal of mortality. Yet I think it leans more to adults. And if you're listening right now, or Michael, if you know kids that you think that it'd be a perfect fit for, please, I'd love your insight.
I lost my dad when I was around a year old. So although the concepts and some of the content, the dialogue would have been above me, it would have been actually something that I could have related to based on that experience. But I didn't feel like they really dove too much into that aspect of it, because technically he was still there in a manner, and he made his way back. But I can see that, yes, it definitely is on the more complex side. But I think that maybe one of the difficulties that we have in our culture is that we dumb things down and we say, oh, these people aren't ready for this. We try to decide when people are ready for things. But I think it's almost better to put it out there and let people determine for themselves. But for the most part, I saw glowing reviews and feedback for it. But then I did see a few parents and people comment, oh, my daughter, my child wasn't ready for this, and now I'm having to answer questions. But part of that feels like that's more of an attempt to defer addressing life questions, which all of us have, depending on we experience certain things in our lives. But I definitely found it to be something that was very empowering from the motivational and inspirational side. And even for myself at my age, it sort of rekindled and reminded me, yeah, remember this. I think that we need to be reminded, and we need to remind ourselves of finding our spark and holding on to our spark. And also the idea that even though your spark doesn't have to be your purpose, that it can be, but in order for it to be, sometimes you have to put in a little extra work, or you have to really dig down deep and remember why you're so passionate about that thing. And that's what's been my spark, is remembering why you do it, remembering your why.
Yeah. I mean, talking more on that movie, it's, yeah, I think, I mean, he was wavering a little bit, and don't want to give too much away because it's a newer movie. But yeah, it's, I could see the value in it. And I can, especially if you're a child that lost a parent, it gives you kind of an idea of where they go and kind of tells you the story. I think if you're looking just to relax and enjoy a moment with your child and not have to bring on a whopping of a conversation, then I think it makes it a little more daunting of a task.
Sure, there. Yeah, it's definitely not one of those sit down carefree movies. It's one of those movies that's going to dive you deep into existentialism and deeper thought.
Like, oh gosh, just eat the popcorn.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. So, I mean, I think our why can change too over time, right? I mean, what drives us, what's push us, and something. I mean, I talk to a lot. I mean, this topic of why you do things is such a big thing to me, because I've done so many interviews with people going over what their big why is, and I say on there all the time that majority of us go away from pain, and it's over time that we go towards pleasure, right? So the pain of not having enough money to have electricity in your home, the pain of not having heat in your house, the pain of not having food to feed your child, right? Over time, when you come past that threshold of saying, oh wow, I have enough to survive right now. Okay, then you start looking at the pleasure of it. And you start going, all right, well, I can see myself buying this grand home. I can see myself buying this car. I can see myself traveling, seeing other countries. And you start seeing that pleasure and working towards that pleasure.
I think so too. I think it is definitely a breaking down. It's something where over time, as we get older and we go through this race of life, through the experiences, that it does get harder, it gets more difficult. And I noticed that too, because I love to work hard. I love to grind, and in working out and grinding hard, though, every single day I wake up in the middle of the night and my body feels like it's just done. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to go back to the gym. I'm not going to be able to get up, go for a run, do my work in the morning. Then the morning comes and I put together my little crack shake of endless vitamins and supplements. And I slowly start to warm up again, but you have to be very dedicated to the sense of it does get harder, and you have to find solutions and ways to work through it to stay motivated and to stay inspired. And I think that too often, and I see this a lot, people are looking for external sources to get them going, to inspire them, to motivate them. Through my art and my platform, where I like to mentor and sort of be an advisor for other artists, one of the most common questions I get is, how do you get inspired or motivated when you don't feel like making work? And the truth is that when I feel like that, I have to just start making work. I have to start going through the motions. I have to start warming myself up mentally, physically, emotionally. You have to get into the rhythm and build that. And I think that one of the reasons I'm better able to do that, and that is from the conditioning, from the repetitions of sorts through my life. And that's why I tie fitness and the idea of repetitions with everything else in my life. The idea of doing something when it hurts, of pushing through the pain, of almost seeking out the pain so that you can manage the pain, manage the load, carry a heavier weight. Because when you first start lifting, you're only going to be able to lift so much, but it's only through callousing yourself, your mind, your body, and working through that you then are able to lift heavier weights and hold heavier weights. And that's a metaphor too, holding heavier weights for the struggles and the burdens in your life and being able to move forward. But it all starts with a conscious decision to do so as well.
Well, I think it can be daunting, right? Where you're talking about, let's say I want to do, 200 push-ups, right? And you go, well, I can't do 200 push-ups. Well, can you do, 8 sets of 50? Okay, that's more palatable. Can you do, you slowly start breaking it down, and it makes it more bite-sized and easier to accomplish. And I think that's sometimes what we forget to do is we have this big goal, and we don't take the moment to appreciate and celebrate the small wins on the road to that big goal.
Yeah, I think we do see the mountain, and we see all the clouds between us in that mountain. It seems so far away. And so I've had to look at that myself, and I'm right now having to look at that and look at the milestones, the chipping away, the little progresses towards getting there. I've had certain goals for many, many years that I haven't hit. And so I'm reevaluating my goals for this year when it comes to fitness goals. Last year, it was more of a running goal. This year, I'm thinking, hey, maybe I want to do more of a lifting goal this year and go for something that seems kind of crazy. But being that there's not a lot that we can do anymore, maybe I can chip away at that and work my way towards that goal. But I have to really kind of come up with a concrete plan of how to do so, because the mountain of that goal for me seems pretty far away.
Yeah. And I think it's, again, breaking it down, understanding. If you have the ability to find someone that's done what you're looking to accomplish, talking to them, seeing how they did it, and follow the footsteps. If you don't, trying to just sit back and understand what you're looking to accomplish and how you can build a game plan to get there.
And sometimes I think you also need to tell yourself a story. And I think that that's okay, telling yourself a story to get motivated. So oftentimes we tell ourselves stories to get out of things. We find the excuses, but sometimes telling yourself the story of why you have it. Because I know during the pandemic, I started to slow down on pretty much everything. I wasn't making a lot of work, but I was getting the questions, oh, how do you get inspired? How do you make work when you don't want to? And I recognized that there were so many people out there that just needed guidance and didn't know what to do. So I started to tell myself, hey, you need to do this. You need to make your why the fact that other people don't know how to do this. Your why needs to be picking other people up. And so I created a lot, even though I didn't really want to, even though I didn't really feel like I was in the best place. But I put all of that into the work, all of those feelings, all of that energy. But it got me into the motions of creating again. And then looking back now, I think that it was a time that a lot of people didn't create, that a lot of people did fall backwards. And so if you can find a way to move forward when other people are going backwards, when you get to the other side of that tunnel, you're going to be so much further ahead, and you will have bridged a lot of the gaps that you may have had before, or potentially push yourself forward. And I think that that's one of the biggest keys to success, is being willing to put in the work when it's hard and when it sucks. And I think that that's the thing, that whatever industry you're in, or whatever your dream is, whatever you do, whatever your passion is, it's the thing that makes the difference between the people that are the very pinnacle of that versus the people that aren't. It's the constant chipping away. It's the no days off. It's the always putting in work.
Yeah, that's tough. Especially if taking no days off, it might not affect, I think, you, and it could affect you, but I think it affects the people you put around you. And that's the thing you got to be careful of, because when you're in the zone, right, quote unquote zone, and you're striving for this goal, right? You sometimes forget the people that are around you and offering that quality time to them, offering that moment that they need. Some people you have around you are going to be very supportive, but you just have to make sure that you're giving back to them also.
That's true. And I'm actually dealing with that right now that I have someone in my life that I'm giving time to. I usually generally have a very small circle one or two friends, maybe a significant other if there's one there, and those are the people that I give my time to. I prefer to give quality time over quantity time, and I also choose to give it to very few because I don't want to have it diluted. So that presents obstacles though as I get older because I have gotten more and more set in my ways in the things that I do. I have taken the deep dive off the cliff and into the deeper waters of what I'm passionate about, of my dream. And so yeah, there's really no days off for me. And so now moving into a relationship, I see how that impacts. And I'm always getting the question of, well, isn't today supposed to be a day off? But even a day off is not really a day off. There's still stuff that gets done. So it's like a day of maybe a little bit lesser stuff, but there's still stuff going on. And I'm starting to see that though. And I'm starting to think, okay, we may need to alter things and adjust the load. Maybe we put more load on this day, and that's a no contact type of day, or a nothing happening day. And then another day where we really are truly freed, because yeah, it can take its toll on relationships and the people around you. And I think that the people, or some of the people that are the most successful, are there because of the intensity and the passion. But sometimes that intensity and passion can take a toll on other people, and it takes a toll on yourself too, because maybe the reason that I have such a small circle is because of the intensity, because of the passion, because of the decisions that I make. But if you're so involved in your why, and your why is this thing that you're doing, in my case, the art, we have to make determinations of what do we truly want.
I mean, I mean, there's moments where you look at it and go, it probably could be easier. Probably easier just being your own person and just doing your own thing and not having the people around you. And you remember and go, well, what's life about? I mean, I truthfully believe that the meaning of life is the idea of love, right? And whatever that means to you, right? So it goes, all right, well, I can do this stuff, I can accomplish these things. Yet, what am I leaving behind? What am I enjoying? What moments are taken away? So it's finding that balancing act of both.
It is, because when I'm fully immersed in the world of my passion, but I don't have anybody with me, it feels boring in a sense, but in a way, it feels like something's lacking. And it's like you said, it's that love, it's that connection. So now, in a place where I have both, it's a struggle, not a bad struggle, but there's definitely a battle that I'm noticing of balancing the energies and the time. And so I'm curious, because I'm in the middle of this, I'm immersed in this right now. I'm curious how I'm going to figure that out, because I definitely know what my spark is, and I know what my purpose is, or what I perceive my purpose is. But sometimes the purpose that we think we have is not our purpose, or sometimes it's a purpose, but maybe we have a parallel balanced out purpose as well.
I mean, what you start figuring out, I think, over time, I mean, you only have a certain amount of hours in the day, right? So it's waking up more earlier, going to sleep later, right? Or leveraging basically what you do, right? Or getting better at your talent to, I mean, get better at your talent, or charging a higher price. I mean, I think those are going to be really the only avenues you do, and you kind of have to find that balancing act of all four of them.
Yeah, and I remember when I left my job that I thought that I was going to have all the time in the world, and I would never have a lack of time or abundance because of the shift of that extra 40 hours. But the truth is that, and I think a good lesson is that there's never really enough time. We just have to work with the time that we have, and we have to make that time enough time, because what we want, the time that we want, we probably will never have.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for being here. Please join the conversation. Reach out to us. Text us, call us, comment on this, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Subscribe, share, and let's make today a positive day for you.